Hello and welcome to Travel Talk Tuesday. I am your host, Lainey Melnick with Dream Vacations in the Westlake Hills area of Austin, Texas. And I am here with Charlie the Traveler, one of my fabulous tour suppliers, who will be joining us momentarily. I'm not sure where he is. He always seems to have technical difficulties getting in, but he is on the way. In the meantime, if you would go ahead and scan the QR code up in the corner, you can enter to win our quarterly contest. And this quarter, it is a free Globus vacation to Italy. So we're not giving away a cruise this time. This quarter, we're giving away a land vacation, which is fabulous in Italy. So please enter to win. You can just scan the QR code and then scroll down to enter to win and apply. It's one email address per entry. You can also type hashtag Travel Talk Tuesday in your comments, and you can enter to win our giveaway of a free $50 gift certificate towards any Charlie the Traveler tour that you take anywhere in the world that you book through me to take advantage of Charlie the Traveler's tours. So now I've gotten through all the housekeeping, and where is Charlie? Hopefully he's going to be on any second now. Otherwise, this is going to be a really short show today. Ah, there he is. Charlie, you drive me crazy. I think you're on mute. Oh, there you are. Hey, welcome back from India.
India, Nepal, and China.
Awesome. And I had my 63rd birthday on Saturday.
Did you really?
I did.
My gosh. How do they freeze you in time? My gosh.
Yeah, what can I say? It's genetics. So we're gonna. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you. So even though you just got back from this fabulous trip, India, Nepal, and China, we're not going to talk about that today. We are instead going to talk about Turkey because Turkey is a fabulous destination, and you've been doing that for years. I've been doing it for years. So we have a lot to talk about the fabulous things you can do in Turkey.
Let's do it.
All right. Are you on our time zone yet? Have you adjusted?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll have a short thing today.
No, we'll have a regular. It's all good.
Okay.
But that is definitely one of the difficulties. I love traveling. The two disadvantages: one, I miss my little girl, and two, I really struggle with the time difference.
Totally. And so it's getting worse and worse too. As I get older, it's harder and harder for me to adjust to time zone differences.
Okay, so I'm not alone.
No, not at all. So, the one thing I really love about Turkish Air, which you can take to anywhere in Europe, and they have, if you have a long layover in Istanbul, over 9 hours, they will give you a free tour of the city, or they'll give you a free hotel room. So I have done the free tour, and I have that on one of my videos. And it was really fabulous. I got to see a lot of Istanbul. I really enjoyed it. And it was all free. So Turkish Air is awesome. And they have such good food on Turkish Air. I really like that airline.
It's one of my favorite, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Emirates, Turkish Air, those are two of the best ones. And then, of course,
Qatar.
Yeah, there you go. You all like the same ones.
Yes. And all the Japanese ones too. Japanese Air is good. And I'm going there in a few weeks. So I should tell everybody, we're only going to do 3 weeks in a row. And then I'm off to Japan. And then Charlie is off also for a little bit in the summer. So we're going to be off and on during this summer. But just keep tuning in on Tuesday. Look at our schedule on our socials, and we will let you know when we have things scheduled.
Well, very good. Let's talk Turkey.
Let's talk Turkey.
So what sometimes people do, no matter what, you're going to be going through Istanbul.
Yeah.
That's inevitable. So what happens is a lot of people, they want to like just get out and get to a hotel and all this kind of stuff. The hotels aren't close to the airport. It's like going to be 45 minutes or an hour away. We generally discourage people from doing that. There's two airports in Istanbul. There's the IST and there's SAW. So regardless which one, what we encourage people to do is just take a connecting flight to Cappadocia. And people, when I say Cappadocia, they may know what that means. Not if I say the hot air balloons over all the cave dwellings and all that, then they say, okay, yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Because that's one of the most iconic places in all of Turkey.
Yes.
Everybody wants to go there. Both airports in Turkey have flights to Cappadocia. Cappadocia has two different airports. We can pick you up from either one. It doesn't matter. One is 45 minutes away from town. The main town to stay in Cappadocia is called Goreme. And the other one is like an hour and 15 minutes away. So however we do it, get you to Cappadocia, pick you up from either of the two airports. We take you to Goreme. And then you're based there so you can visit Cappadocia region.
Yeah, so some people may know it by their cave hotels. They have the hotels, built into caves. It's that's what it's most known for.
Yeah, there's very few places I've been to on Earth like that. It's a very unique destination. There's a little story to it, but before nobody was there, and I think it was some Frenchmen who first started the hot air balloon rides over there. And then the businessmen saw opportunities in Cappadocia, and they told the locals whatever the value at that time was for their properties, they offered them double. So what so many locals did was they said, oh my gosh, yeah, I'll take it. And then they cashed out and left. Well, that still was a relatively low amount of money because those properties became very valuable. So like the whole thing got bought out, and it's definitely one of the most popular places in all of Turkey.
And it's rare. People who are just normal tourists don't usually go there because it is a little complicated. You have to know people like me and Charlie who understand how to do these tours. And starting in Cappadocia is a great way to start. It's fabulous. So go ahead and let us know what you do once you're there.
So again, don't get out in Istanbul. Stay in Istanbul. Take a connecting flight to Cappadocia. or preferably Lainey, will tell you the exact flights that you'll need so you can get that connecting flight. You don't have to figure it out for yourself. Once you've gone to Cappadocia, we pick you up, take you to the airport. If you arrive early enough, what we typically do is take you to a wine house. There's a popular spot over there where people will have some wine. And that's pretty much it. Like the first day, it's kind of the day that you arrive. You're going to want to adjust to the time difference. If you end up arriving early, then we also put in some of the activities for the second night. There's a folklore show that we take you to. The food over there is really good. And there's also like the Turkish bath. Lainey knows all about that.
You can see it on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's what got her famous. The Turkish bath is very, very relaxing. It's you have a guy who's you why don't you tell, because your story was better than mine.
Well, I wouldn't call it relaxing at all. It's like they treat you like you're a baby and they wash you from head to toe and slap you around. And I mean, it's actually really fun and hilarious. But I don't think I've ever been as clean in my life.
Is that one? I guess I get relaxed because even if they're slapping me, it's still I'm like, oh, this was good. But I can understand because they take the thing with their hands and they kind of like slap you and they really try to get all the dead skin off you, and then after when they're done, they'll show you like, hey, look how much dead skin you have. I'm like, oh, thanks. yeah.
You can get really great massages too in Turkey for very little money. So those are nice. Hey, good morning to the Philippines. Hey.
And unlike some other countries, which also have Turkish massages and all that, when you're done with the bath and then you want the massage, you can have a male masseuse or a female masseuse. In some other countries, like India, for example, where I was just in, it's got
Mhm.
to be male. Like male has to go with male, female has to go with female. In Turkey, it's not like that. You just get whatever you want.
Well, some of them are they won't let men work on women. Some of the bathhouses, but the one I went to, they had men doing my bath and they had women doing the massage. Yeah, but I get comments all the time on my YouTube that it is totally not right that they have the men bathing me, that was improper. But they did it.
That people they express discontent with a man giving you the
The bath. Yeah, they thought that was totally against their moral values in Turkey. So,
uh,
but they did it there. I mean, I don't know.
you look pretty happy to me, but
And they
and
thought he looked too happy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry if it offended somebody. You didn't look offended at all. You look
No, I wasn't. No.
cloud nine with it.
No, I would prefer men, especially for massages. I like a man's strength in their hands more than the women's massages. But
Yeah, well, I would offer mine, but I'm a lot more expensive. So stick with a Turkish hammam. You'll get good value. Don't
exactly.
use Charlie the Traveler's hands. Twice the cost, half the value. So, anyway, now when you're in Cappadocia, the first night again, depending on what time you arrive, we're going to show you stuff accordingly. But let's just assume for right now, you've got in at like 3:30, 4 o'clock, something like that. At that point, we're just going to take you to this wine house. You have a little wine. The rest of the day, you just kind of adjust. Hopefully, you sleep some, so the next day you feel great. Yeah. Um, so Cappadocia is a region. It's not the town. Goreme again is the town. Um, so you're going to need a couple of full days to cover the highlights. There is no shared tour that covers all the highlights. There's ones that will do a lot of the fun stuff, but you're still going to miss stuff. So that's why we kind of give the option if you just want to keep it shared tour, meaning you're going to meet other travelers on it. And you'll have your fun and you'll meet people and all this kind of stuff. No problem, we do it. There's some other people that are very, maybe you call them obsessed like I am. I don't want to miss anything important. That is just my personality. The only way to do that is on a private basis. So we give people both options for it. There's a little bit of an upgrade fee to do it all private. But I do recommend that one just so you know that you haven't missed anything important in the region. And that again takes 2 days, 2 full days to do it.
So just to go back to the way that you do your tours, because it's been a while since we had our talks, but so with Charlie, you can leave on any day that you'd like. So it's not the kind of tour where you have to abide by the rules of when there's departures. So we customize your tour completely from start to finish based on what your needs are. And then, as Charlie said, there's some shared tours, some private, or you have options. And what he does is he organizes every day so that's you're not necessarily with the same people every day, but
Mhm.
you'll be in a shared tour on Tuesday with X, Y, and Z, and then on Wednesday you're going to do this. So we coordinate everything. You don't have to worry about it at all. That's what Charlie and I are for.
Exactly, girl. You got it down. So the first thing that we like doing on the second day is the hot air balloon ride. This is a general practice that we have for most of our country. So anytime there's like a hot air balloon ride or a flight sing tour or something like that, we try to do it as soon as possible because the weather may cause a cancellation. So imagine we put this now on the third day and the fourth day you're leaving Cappadocia. We don't want to do that because if they cancel on that third day, you don't have a backup plan. So first day you arrive, second day we want to schedule you for the hot air balloon. In the event that it cancels specifically due to weather, at least we have a plan B, which is you doing it on the third day. So it's been very rare. To be honest, with you, I don't know if it's ever happened that I can remember where we didn't show somebody the hot air balloon ride. If we didn't get it on the second day, we'll get it on the third day. But it does start very early because you're going there for sunrise. So, you're in your lobby at 5 o'clock in the morning type of thing. You're being picked up, and then you're taking that hot air balloon ride over those cave dwellings of Cappadocia. So you're up, altogether from ascending, descending, spending time up there and all that, you're up there for about an hour.
And I know people are concerned about safety, especially, there are accidents with balloons. We just had one in New Mexico. So what would you say about safety of these balloons?
There are hundreds of them that are up there. They do this all day. So they're not really experimenting with you. They do it all day and night. And these pilots are licensed, and they're international pilots. So you'll meet some who are from Turkey. You'll meet people from New Zealand. You'll find pilots from all around the world. This is just what they do all day long. So, it's hard for me to say how it compares with elsewhere. But, the track record is very good over there. And it's not the sudden drop or something like that. For somebody who's been on a hot air balloon ride, this is common sense to them. But for someone who has not, it's not like a free fall type of thing. It goes up very slowly. It goes down very slowly, and it's relaxing. And you just kind of hear it's a fun process, like just to be there, to see how they inflate it and how it just enlarges. And then you see the fire, type of thing. It's romantic. When I was on it last, a gentleman from Romania got on his knee and proposed to a girl. And it was really smart because she can't run away and say no. So,
she can jump.
Well, that's a way to die right there. I can understand if I proposed to somebody, I wouldn't blame the girl if she jumped too. But,
no.
But she said yes. I actually had the whole thing filmed.
Aww.
And, they didn't. I just filmed it for them. The guy didn't have it planned or anything. So I gave it to him. But so, gentlemen, if you want a romantic place to propose to your woman, that's the place.
And bring Charlie along to film it.
I'll be there to film it. If she says no, you can throw her off.
No throwing.
One thing that we do, and we provide you with an itinerary letter. And in the letter, it'll tell you, please be in the lobby at this time. A representative from this company will be picking you up, or your tour guide is going to be picking you up, his WhatsApp, whatever. We tell you what to bring each day. So for this particular day, there's a wrist strap that we require you to bring. And you have it around your wrist and you have it on your phone, basically. We tell you this before you've left for Turkey. Because what can happen is, you're taking all these beautiful photos, your phone slips, it's gone. Right? So basically for your glasses, your sunglasses, we have you put something around your glasses, around the back of your head, so your sunglasses won't fall off, and something for your phone so it doesn't fall off. Those kind of things will ruin your day. So
yes.
We think about all the negativity. So we want to make sure none of that stuff happens to you. So once you're done with the hot air balloon ride, you'll have your breakfast. And then we start touring. And there's just these different rock formations and areas. There's the Monk's Valley. There's the Camel Rock. There's this pottery workshop in a place called Avanos. It's a Greek word, actually. Usually that stuff I don't really like. It just feels like, okay, you're going to take me to a ceramics shop and all that. Usually I don't like that kind of stuff. This one I really liked because just the rooms themselves look very beautiful. It looked like a natural museum. And the way they actually do the pottery, it is like authentic. It's not some like tourist trap type of thing. So they're doing it, and they're getting dirty and all this kind of stuff. Um, so, and you see it from just clay to the final product is really good stuff. So, I didn't buy anything. Of course, they have stuff for sale, but I was very fascinated by what they had. And if I wasn't, then I would remove it from the tour. Uh, I don't make any money from them, so I think tourists just like seeing it for that purpose alone. Um, there's a open air museum again with the rock formations and all of that. And then some of the stuff looks like a castle. Some of these formations just look like an actual castle and stuff.
Mm.
Um, so then what we typically do is, if you didn't do that Turkish hammam or bathhouse on the first day, then we typically take you there on the second evening.
Mm.
That's what we end up doing. And then they provide you with like tea as well. It's a beautiful experience. Just note though that children under 7 years old can't go on the hot air balloon ride. That's not Charlie the Traveler's policy. That's the policy of every single company that operates these hot air balloons. So just
Yeah.
anybody who's interested in the tour, if you got a child under 7 years old, the vast majority of the stuff that we're going to be telling you about, you can do, but specifically the hot air balloon ride,
Mm.
they're not allowed on.
And this is another thing. If you don't want to go, we can always replace that with something else, or you just sleep in that day. So it's not required if you don't want to do the hot air balloon.
I've heard several times, every single time without exception. When I've showed them a video or photo of this hot air balloon ride experience, every one of them have changed their mind and said they're going.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to go, you're not going to offend me any, but you're going to be missing out. Is a very big deal.
Yeah.
We're now on the third day, and we're going to be visiting the other side of Cappadocia. One day you go the other one side, the other day you're going to go the other
Mm.
side. There's some beautiful viewpoints. There's this underground city as well.
Mm.
That is crazy. At this underground city, there's many layers. And what they did back then was they created floors, basically. And the purpose of this was to hide themselves from the Romans,
Mm.
Roman invasions, and all this kind of stuff. And you see how deep they go and how many floors it is. And they would stay there for a very long time. And somebody is going to ask eventually, well, what about going to the bathroom? Um, they had a whole system to it, and they're going to show you how they did all that with the bathroom and how they were able to just do it and then get the stuff out. There's a bunch of cool stuff they had in there, and they'll show you these traps that they had as well. So in case invaders went right there, I mean, they'd have these little holes, and then they had these spears and just um,
Mm.
so it's beautiful to look at, and it's fascinating when they're telling you what they're doing inside there. Um, the biggest that it got had about 5,000 people inside this thing.
Mm.
Okay, so to dig something from the hole and put 5,000 people in there, it's a big deal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is. There's a monastery that's built by the Greeks that we take you to. It's called Salim Monastery. There's a little hiking that we do. So if people don't want the hike, we don't do it. But it is a beautiful valley that we take you through. And then that's what we do most of that day. There's also a beautiful place to watch the sunset. We take you there too. Everybody goes over there. And then in the evening, what we typically do, if you didn't do this on the first evening, we take you to that night show that's where you have like that traditional folkloric music.
Mm.
You're watching these locals who are wearing like the folkloric attire. They're doing like choreography and this kind of stuff. I really enjoyed it. It was very authentic. A lot of the stuff that you go to around the world, it's kind of annoying and just you kind of want to get in and out. This one, no. I mean, there's drinks there. There's really good music. It's a very authentic experience. I liked it. Or else I'd have removed it from the itinerary.
And I can't think of the name of it. The swirling dervishes, is that the right?
Yeah, but that's in Konya. There's
Okay.
also a place in Cappadocia. There's a place that you can watch that as well, and you could get an so if you want to go there as opposed to the one that we take you to, you can switch it out. There's no additional fee for that. It's just you're
Mm,
watching one show over another. Um, that one though is not as authentic in Cappadocia. If you want the authentic ones, you got to go to Konya,
mm.
which is further east, and that's where the Kurdish minority is.
And it's
That,
more of a religious service kind of thing, isn't it?
yeah, I mean for the casual tourist who doesn't read the deep history of all this kind of stuff, it's going to look like folkloric dances. But
Mm,
yeah, in ancient times, this was used for religious purposes.
okay.
Do you want to demonstrate before I tell you about this, or do you want to demonstrate how to do
I
the dance?
I would never even attempt, no.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they really just said they got the hand and like
Yeah.
they yeah. Don't try this at home, guys. So we're so yeah. Just to tell you one more thing about the whole Cappadocia region, there was a lot of like Greek influence in there as well, and your tour guide will tell you all about that and where the Greek stayed versus where the Turkish stayed, and then that a population exchange and all this kind of stuff in the early 1900s. Um, but yeah, it's fascinating from a nature point of view, from a historical point of view, um, and it's romantic. Even Goreme town itself is romantic,
Mm,
and the hotel room where you're going to stay is romantic. You kind of mentioned it earlier, but you're staying in a cave dwelling. You're staying in an actual cave that's been
yeah.
converted into a hotel. Um,
They're just the most unique, unusual accommodations. I don't know how to explain it if you don't know what a cave dwelling is.
Google it. Basically,
Yeah,
that's
just go look at it.
exactly. The fourth day in the morning, we relocate you by flight from Goreme to Kusadasi. You're going through a place called Izmir. So you or me, we could tell you the exact flight that you're going to need on that fourth day. You get there in the morning. We pick you up in Izmir, and then the drive from there to Kusadasi, it's a coastal city. It takes a little over an hour. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. On that day, we'll show you the city walls. We'll show you the castle over there.
Mhm.
And then if you're going in the summer season, because we run this in two different seasons. The winter season, our tour is 10 days. That's November through March. You're not going to want to go swimming. April through October is we'll call it the summer season or popular season. That ends up being a 12-day tour. And during these months, people like to go to the beach. The water gets warmest, July, August type of thing, June. But even in a month like April, if you're not going to go inside the water, you still kind of like enjoying the beaches. It's a fun place to be and stuff like that. Um, in the evening of the fourth day is when we take you to a local's home. There you're watching how traditional food is made. So they will demonstrate it, they prepare it, you participate. So you're making dinner with the locals. If you don't want to do it and you just want to look at it and take some
Mhm.
photos and convince everybody and yourself that you actually helped, you can do that too. Don't worry. But if you want to learn how it's done, they'll teach you. If you just want to enjoy the food, you just enjoy the food. But you're experiencing this with local people. You have a beautiful dinner with them. The food's obviously great. And then we take you back to the hotel and you call it a day. While on the topic of food, I have now been in 100 countries. I've traveled extensively in literally 100 countries.
Mm,
Nepal was my 100th country. Best food on the planet, Turkey.
hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting. I
yeah.
don't know if I would agree with you, but okay, I can see it. It's great food. But I was going to mention something before I forget that. So I call this city Kusadasi, which is probably completely pronounced incorrectly, but
Kusadasi.
Kusadasi. Okay, so when on all of the cruises that go to Athens and Turkey as one stop. This is the port stop where you see Ephesus. So a lot of people will think of this port stop as the Ephesus stop. but we did the Turkish bath and all of the other things too there. So it's a very interesting area for you to see more than just the ruins. But I just wanted to make sure people understood what this area is that we were talking about, where you are right now.
Hmm. Well, that's exactly right, because we use Kusadasi. The day that you arrive is when we do those things, the castle, the walls. You go to locals' home. If you want to go swimming during the summertime, you have a little time for that. Um, Day 5 now, we're making an excursion. So you, before see that archaeological site, that's Ephesus, you just mentioned that, we head to that Catholic shrine. It's the House of the Virgin Mary. That's where it is believed that Mary was taken to that house, and she remained there for like the remainder of her life, type of thing. I'm not sure if she died there or what, but like her final stage of life was there. So for Christians, that is a really the house itself. It's not this decorative home like you'd find in Italy or something like that. It's a rather simpler place, but the symbol behind it for Christians has a lot of meaning. Um, so it's a big deal for Christians to visit that specific home. Um, After that, we take you to Ephesus, and it's one of the largest Roman archaeological sites in the world, um, and not least in the Eastern Mediterranean. I mean, it's just a huge place, and they did a perfect job of preserving the buildings and just presenting everything. Um, so it's for me the one of the best places to see archaeology in all of the Mediterranean.
Yeah, it is, and it's beautiful.
Indeed. After that, there's a Greek temple that we take you to. Um, and it's amazing how they rebuild this stuff, because a lot of stuff kind of falls down and then they rebuild it in its authentic state and this kind of stuff. Um, After that, we'll take you to this basilica, and then we'll take you to this Turkish mosque, and then we call it a day. That's what we end up doing on the 5th day. It's now the 6th day. Um, Other companies will typically do a day trip from Kusadasi to Pamukkale. That is where you have the natural pools.
Yeah.
And like anybody who's like types in the word Turkey on Instagram, you're going to see this right away. You're going to see all these girls with these natural pools doing their Instagram famous photos. That's the spot right there. We don't um, do it like that unless you're doing our winter tour. In this case, you make a day trip, and then from there, we can take you from Kuşadası and fly you to Istanbul, and you do the rest of your trip there. If you're going to be visiting the Turkish Riviera, and this is something everyone wants to do from April through October, you're going to basically want to leave Kuşadası on the 6th day. We pick you up, we take you to Pamukkale. It's about a 3-hour drive. What we end up doing on this day is we go to this ancient city of Hierapolis. So you see a little bit of archaeology. Right next to it is that Pamukkale site itself. That's where you have like those natural pools, and there's lots of them. And there's hot springs over there, and this travertine limestone. And then basically right next to that, walking distance from there, are these natural pools called the Cleopatra pools. And you're swimming there, and there's literally ruins inside the water. And the water is very clear. So as you're walking around, you see the archaeology just under your feet. It's really pretty.
Yeah, and the I'm not going to pronounce it right. The how do you say the
Pamukkale.
pools?
Pamukkale.
Pamukkale. Anyway, it's like multiple colors and gorgeous, like these amazing pools. That's what you see in the Instagram photos. That everybody wants to go to look at this just because it's gorgeous, amazing.
Indeed, it is not to be missed. Now we're on day 7, the morning of day 7. This is the other reason why unlike other companies, we relocate you to Pamukkale as opposed to make a day trip. Um, there's a hot air balloon ride over
Mm,
Pamukkale. I have done it as well as the one over Cappadocia. Cappadocia was the original one. In recent years, the one over Pamukkale has become very popular, but
mm.
it's a relatively newer activity. Um, we strongly recommend it. It is a part of our package tour. Um, but for me, I mean, it's almost as nice as Cappadocia itself. It's a different landscape,
Mm.
but you're seeing some really beautiful stuff over there. After you've done that hot air balloon ride in Pamukkale, we check out. We take you to the coastal town of Bodrum. This is where the Turkish Riviera begins, and this is somewhere again that we take you to if you're visiting anytime between April and October. If you're in the wintertime, you don't go to Bodrum because it's very quiet there and you're not going to have the same experience. But it is a hot spot. I had first visited Bodrum about 18 years ago. I was again in Bodrum about 10 months ago. I was shocked by how much it changed for the better. The first time I was in Bodrum, I kind of laughed. I was like, this is, nothing special. I'm wasting my time here. I went back over there and I'm just like, they took this place and made it prestigious, so it's
A-
kind of
And it's got great diving too, that whole area.
that, and it's got great restaurants. Um, some of these restaurants, they're right like on the water. I mean,
Mm.
they've got so many of them. So it's a place that you just want to be. It's just you're in a good mood over there. You have your lunch there on the day 7, um, and you're going to see people swimming right next to the water and the beach and all that. Um, and we provide you with a guided tour of the town, of course. There's a castle to check out. There's a nice theater to see. There's the bazaar, the flea market, we'll call it.
Hmm.
Um, Now, these other places we take you to, most companies do not. The reason being is these other companies didn't dive as deep as I did into exploring all of this stuff. So there's a place, a small port. It's called Kusum Salak. I also pronounced that wrong, I'm pretty sure, but Kusum Salak, yeah. You can purchase dinner there. We provide you with a guided tour of this port. Uh, until you go there, you're not going to really understand why that place is so special. Uh, but it is special and it is human artwork at its finest. This is just a normal port. They look very similar to like those Greek taverns that you see right on the water. You say, okay, what's the big deal there? They took it's a place that's relatively small. I mean, you can walk from one corner to the other
Mm.
in, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes, something like that. And we do that. We take you there. Every single restaurant is so decorated, but with artwork that you would see in some fine museum. Like
Mm.
every single restaurant, you're taking photos. You want to do selfies with this stuff because it's really so beautiful, the stuff they do.
Mm.
Even the presentation of the food over there. So they actually will bring out everything to your table. They've got all the mezedes, that's what they're called, but small plates of different food.
Mm.
And you can sit there and I want that, this, and that. They will then go and cook it for you. When they bring out the food, the presentation of the food, it's like, this looks so pretty, you feel guilty even touching it, type of thing. So it's romantic. It's very romantic. Um, so it's probably better that you don't go by yourself. Um, you know, it's
But you could
it's a
eat a lot if you go by yourself.
yeah, you can drink your problems away. Um, drink some nice wine over there because it is popular. Um, but it's definitely a pleasant surprise. After that, we take you to this harbor. It's called Turbaku. Um, There you kind of stroll the waterfront. Definitely other companies don't take you to this place. This is a place popular more so with local Turks or Turks from other parts of the country that are visiting. Not too many tourists go there.
Mm,
That's good though, because they have all these restaurants and all these bars right along the water right there. And they've got like Turkish music and all this kind of stuff. This is where you're getting a very authentic Turkish experience.
mm,
Um, being right there with the restaurants and the bars and the music and Turkish people, that's it right there.
mm.
Um, after that, we take you to this modern port. That isn't authentic at this point. That is just about prestige. Um, I don't, other than in Egypt, I don't think I've ever seen so many yachts in my life, and it's extremely rich. I mean, I'm from California, and we think that we have some prestigious stuff over here. When I went to that port in Turkey, I was just like, no, like the volume of yachts and just prestigious everything over there was on a completely different level. It's like a jet set crowd kind of place.
Mhm.
So on the same night, we're showing you romance, we're showing you authentic Turkey at its finest, and we're showing you the fancy, jet set kind of stuff. So you're getting all three in one night,
Mm.
basically. And then the bars there are quite fashionable. Um, you can enjoy a little bit of the nightlife. We give you some time over there. We recommend a place where you can kind of go for some drink and music and all that. We give you a little time over there. If you don't want to go, we just leave. Um, Before the night ends, we also take you to this one place very near to Bodrum. I'm not even going to try to say the whole name on that. I'm just going to say Gumbet. That's the first name of it. But there's a lot of like nightlife over there. The older folks are going to say, you know what, just take me through it real quick and let me see what it's like and just drive through like McDonald's type of thing. Some other people are like, no, I want to see it because nightlife is a part of the experience of being in and around Bodrum.
I have to correct you about older older folks. So a lot of people think people like my age would not want to do things like that, but I'd say you need to say people who are young at heart will want to see the area. It doesn't matter what age they are,
Well, you're a party animal, Lainey. Okay.
as
You,
everybody knows.
yeah, I heard people talking about you when I went to Turkey last, and you've been gone for a while. I think you left your mark over there, girl. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like my father, same thing. I mean, he's almost 70 years old. He
Mm,
parties until nearly 4 o'clock in the morning every weekend. So there are a lot of people. But the point I was trying to make was that you have the option. You're not forced.
yes.
So by default, we'll take you there unless you tell us, hey, I'm tired or whatever, and we don't want to go. So we will give it to you unless you request otherwise. That's the point.
Okay. And I do want to emphasize that most of the tours that you're going to have of Turkey really do not go to areas like this. They hit the highlights, the areas that most tourists know about, especially in Istanbul. But you're really not going to get the whole flavor of these other areas that are just amazing and really add to the experience of being in Turkey.
Yeah, I can guarantee that you're recorded on live stream. I can guarantee there's no tour that takes you to all these places that we take you to.
Yeah.
Nothing close to it. It's just a pure fact.
Yeah.
On the eighth day, here's an example of that. So what we do on the eighth day, you're relocating from Bodrum to the beach town of Olodumnes. There's many important stops that are made en route. Other companies will just take you there. You see, we don't do that. There's this marina in the resort town of Marmaris. And my first time going there was during COVID. Um, it was like, geez, that was a whole different experience. And then when I went back, it's like,
Mm.
okay, well, this is what it's like. It is fun. Marmaris is really pretty. It's very vibrant. Um, and it's just got a good vibe to it. The town itself is pretty. The shops are great. The restaurants are great over there. Um, The next thing we do is take you to this village called Dalyan. Dalyan, you do a river cruise, and you're passing by these mountain carved tombs. Um, there's other parts of the world that have that as well, but basically, before Islam came in and all of that, what they would do was they would take the royalty and they would carve out space in the mountain, and they would basically put their bodies inside there, and then they would kind of like the what do you call it, the
Like tombs?
well, the tombs, but the I know the word in Greek, but not English. Epitaphos. The
I don't know Greek. I'm sorry.
no, it's all right. I forgive you. Um, but anyway, the decoration, we're going to call it, or the writing on the
Mm.
tomb.
Petroglyphs?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Mm.
But basically, so when you're on the boat, you will see it right there. So you see the actual tombs and the artwork that they did, showing you exactly where the royalty was buried.
Mm.
That same boat ride will take you to this therapeutic mud pool. You go in a mud clay over there. So um, we tell you to bring we ask you to bring swimming attire and water shoes because you're going to bathe in mud
Mm.
that gives you healing properties. It's a very famous place, especially for Turks themselves. They love going there for their skin, and then they got
Mm.
skin products. I mean, people have heard of a similar thing in the Dead Sea, right?
Yeah.
And Israel. So this one's not so hot. The Dead Sea, you go inside there, it's like it's hot. This one's not so hot, but it's a similar concept of you taking that mud and you're just bathing your whole body with it. So it's definitely different
Mm.
from partying the night before, right?
But very soothing. I love mud baths. Actually did that in Costa Rica too.
Yeah, we basically we try to change up everything. If you're too repetitive, then at some point you can get bored with it. So we constantly change things up.
Mm.
We will then take you to this famous tomb. It's in Dalyan. Um, then we take you to Fethiye. There's a nice old town over in Fethiye. We show you that whole thing, and then we get you to Olodines. So we pack this day very, very heavy because there's so much important things to show you before getting to your final destination. We don't do it the cheap way out where we just get you to Lodinez and dump you there.
Mm.
Uh, so that's what we end up doing on the 8th day. If it's the winter season, again, it's different. At this point, you're going to be in Istanbul. But
Mm.
right now, we're going to assume that you're doing the summer itinerary. Now, on the 9th day, you're going to enjoy the turquoise water of Olodines. It is clear water. It is some of the best water and beaches I've seen in all of the Mediterranean, not just Turkey.
Mm.
It is a
So
really,
are these rocky beaches like you have on the French Riviera?
this one is, it's not fully sand, but it's much softer. It's not
Mm.
like rock like you're talking about.
Mm.
But this is a sand beach, but it's not like fine sand. I mean, it's a little bit of like pebble.
I see. Okay.
But the
So
one
Charlie, we only have 10 minutes left. So we were only on day 9. Wait, are we on day 8 or 9?
we're on day 9.
Okay.
Um, all right. Well, you're getting me excited. I want to go on
I
this tour
know.
myself. You're getting me in the zone, girl. I'm in
I
the zone.
know. Well, you can go. You can go anytime.
All right. So on the 9th day, there's an optional activity that we provide. It's not for everybody. Paragliding over
Mm.
Orotonez. I did it. I strongly recommend it. Um, you don't go paragliding just for the sake of going paragliding. You're going because there's this lagoon over there, and it's got like the sandy bay, and there's a blue lagoon over there.
Mm.
Um, and I wouldn't miss it as long as you're not afraid of heights. I would definitely not miss it. Otherwise,
Mm.
you don't do it in the morning. You just enjoy the beach, and we'll take you to a viewpoint if you don't want to go paragliding. So at least from the viewpoint, you can still see it.
Mm,
Not the same experience, but good enough for those who just are scared of heights.
mm,
At this point, we've now checked out of the hotel in Olodunez. We take you to Kaputas Beach. For me, that's the number one beach in all of Turkey. No company takes you there. We take you there.
mm,
That beach, that's one of the best beaches I've been to in the world, honestly.
mm,
Um, it's a good one. So we stop there so you have some time to go swimming over there. Um, the next one is we take you to a resort town. It's called Kemer, and we give you a little tour of the port area. And it's got these nice lounges, and there's also some nightclubs over there for the nighttime. You can go there in the nighttime, but we take you there in the daytime. I had a very good experience because I had made buddies with a random driver who didn't speak any English. We used Google Translate. But my first time over there, I remember just having a good time with him and him showing me around and all this. Um, we then take you to this waterfall near Antalya. Antalya is where you're going to be sleeping tonight. Um, we will show you this waterfall. It's a famous place. We first show you the lower portion of it. After that, we will show you the upper portion of it. Then we get to our hotel in Antalya. You check in, and there's this beautiful shoreline that we're going to be showing you there. There's these very high-end restaurants and bars right over there. So that's
mm,
what you do on the ninth day. It's again very packed, like the eighth day. There's just so much to see there, essentially.
mm,
Antalya is similar to Bodrum in the sense of when I went there for my first time, which was 17 years ago. Um, I didn't care for it at all, to be honest. It just that like at least Bodrum was like decent. Antalya looked like a dump. Back
mm,
now, I was shocked. The place is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And what they did with every single building and every single street and how it's just done to perfection.
mm,
I couldn't believe my eyes. Um, there's so many places in the world that I went to and years later it just doesn't look anything like what it looked like 15, 20 years ago. The one place that hasn't changed at all is Carroll, California, where I'm from. It looks the exact same since I was 5 years old. Um,
But this
most,
is the reason why you can't like read online reviews because reviews don't aren't current, so they haven't seen what's there now, and that's one of the reasons why it's so good to have people on the ground who are there all the time, and you know how things are in reality.
indeed, indeed. What we do then is on the 10th day, we make a day trip from Antalya. So there's an archaeological theater. It's called Aspendos. It's a really nice one. Um, it's one of the best archaeological sites in all of Turkey. There's a coastal village that we take you to. It's called Said. You got a little tour of the village, and there's a nice archaeological theater inside there. People are saying that's going to be the next hotspot. So it's relatively small now, but business investors and all that are buying property over there because they know it's
Mm,
going to become the next hotspot in Turkey. Um, then we take you to another archaeological site called Purge. Uh, After Ephesus, that's my favorite one in Turkey.
mm,
Purge. Just the formation of this archaeological site and stuff. It's on caliber with what you see in Rome. Let's just put it that way.
mm,
Then we take you back to Antalya. You're provided with a guided tour of the old town, and we show you it in the evening. That's when it's best seen because you got the lights on, it's illuminated, and all this kind of stuff. And that's it. On the 11th day, this is where it can get a little tricky. Those who don't have the time, basically, we just get them from Antalya to Istanbul. They now go from Istanbul home. We highly discourage that for everybody. What we recommend at this point is spending time in Istanbul because that's a destination unto itself. You can't miss Istanbul.
yeah.
We don't really have a fixed amount of time for it. I'm one of the only crazy people who visited the whole city without missing anything because it's somewhat on caliber with Rome in terms of everything it has to see. I took a book this thick and I started my tour every day at 8 in the morning. I didn't get back every night until 10 o'clock at night. It
Mm.
took me 8 full days to see everything. Nobody except for me is going to do that. So we ask people, how much time would you like in Istanbul? And then we will add to this itinerary accordingly. Most people say 2 days.
Hmm.
So we're going to then give you 2 days. You tell me three, we're going to give you 3 days of highlights. One day we'll do one. But most people do two. So typically on the 11th day, we're flying from Antalya to Istanbul. Leave your stuff at the hotel because it's too early to check in. We give you a full day tour. The 12th day, we're giving you a full day tour. You're seeing stuff like the Grand Bazaar and all these just huge attractions that, again, are on par with what you'd find in Rome. And then typically on the 13th day is when people are taken to the airport in Istanbul. We say goodbye and we call it a trip.
So when we're doing the winter trip, you spend more time in Istanbul?
Correct. It's only 10 days. And by default, you already have 2 days in Istanbul. In the summertime, it was hard for us to add Istanbul just like that because it's already 11 days. This
Right.
package, and it's not easy to cut stuff out because if you kind of visualize when I was talking, the whole Turkish Riviera, you're going spot, 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 spot. It's not easy to cut stuff out over there.
Right.
So the only way we can shorten this stuff is basically not take you to the Turkish Riviera. But that is like a big thing that you're cutting out. So what people try doing in this instance is just find a couple extra days and let us take them to the Turkish Riviera, then take them to Istanbul. And if you notice, we're doing Istanbul at the very end, not at the very beginning. There's a lot of reasons why you want it set up that way. Leave Istanbul for the very end.
Yeah, totally agree. We've run out of time, and I already had talked to Charlie about what we're going to do next week because I love Galapagos Islands, one of my favorite destinations in the world, and Charlie has a very unique itinerary there. So we're going to talk Galapagos next week. Please join us next week for Travel Talk Tuesday. Make sure you scan the code and enter to win our Italian land vacation with Globus. And what else do we want to say, Charlie?
But there are just a few things I want to touch
Oh,
up on
okay.
really quickly with Turkey. One is people ask me a lot of time about transportation. We typically provide private transportation. The vehicles are very nice. This is the best way to get around Turkey. They don't have like the bullet trains and all that stuff. They have a few
Right.
lines, but generally speaking, they don't have the kind of transportation you'll find elsewhere. It's all private vehicles and nice ones at that. And inside these vehicles, they have this like rose water type of thing for washing your hands. They also have that in the Middle East.
Mm.
But there's all these nice little perks of being in these private cars that we provide. Cost in Turkey. Turkey is not as cheap as it used to be. Before it used to be insanely cheap, and the value that you got was incredible. Everybody kind of heard about Turkey and how nice it is, and the place became very prestigious.
Mm.
So hotel prices have gone up and all this kind of stuff. Still, though, the value is great. So for being a popular Mediterranean country, it is still, I would say, the best bang for your buck. Greece is great. It's more expensive. Italy's great. It's more expensive.
Hmm.
Turkey gives you the same level of prestige and beauty as these other countries, but just at a better price.
Yeah,
Um,
people really don't understand Turkey and what it is. I think it's a misunderstood area. And people are worried about what to wear, women, whether they have to cover their shoulders and their knees. You don't really. I mean, it's nice to be respectful of their culture, but there's lots of people who live there, even in spaghetti straps or tank tops, wearing their swimwear.
oh yeah, I mean, it's not your conservative Islamic country like one would imagine. I mean, you go to the beach, people are wearing G-strings. Um,
Mhm.
that tells you enough.
Right.
And yeah, and the girls, the Turkish girls, when they go out at night, they're dressed very um, fashionably, you know.
Mm.
So no, you don't. I mean, yeah, you hear the call of prayer, You still that happens 5 times a day, and you'll see mosques and stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, they don't. It feels like a big party country. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's definitely one of the most liberal Muslim countries I've been to. Second to Azerbaijan. That was on a different level. Like that was crazy. That was fun. But yeah, that was like, well, I couldn't even believe that it was that. That country's more liberal than like, a lot of the Christian countries I've been to. But anyways,
Mm.
um, it's safety. Maybe the last thing to touch up on, you just did
Yeah.
right now. Um, our customers have never had any problems, really. Um, Everything's gone very smoothly for us. I don't know. So maybe somebody who's just gone there themselves, I don't know what kind of experience they have, but
It's a
um,
good idea, like in any large city, to be with people, and be smart about not showing your jewelry around. A friend of mine actually just had his watch ripped off his wrist on the Las Ramblas in Barcelona. Like you just shouldn't travel with really flashy jewelry, and hide your money, and be safe. Like, it's just because you're on vacation doesn't mean there aren't bad people around. So just be smart.
yeah, the in Turkey, most of the country has a good reputation. Istanbul is a beautiful city. I guess if anywhere, um, take a little bit more precaution in Istanbul, but
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, anything can happen anywhere, but the pickpocketing is not really the common one there. You mentioned Spain right now. The more typical ones in Istanbul is there's a certain area. It's called Taksim, and it's beautiful buildings over there, and beautiful architecture and all this kind of stuff. And they've got like a lot of nightclubs and all that. And what people do who are going by themselves, men, more so men, they go into these places, and then there's these pretty girls who work there. And then she'll just sit down, and then, okay, can I have a drink? And then you don't want to look stupid, so you buy her a drink. And then, the bill comes, and it's like, $200 type of thing. Um, so yeah, I never got myself into that kind of situation. Um, and
Mm.
this is not something that we take our customers to anyway, so it doesn't really pertain to us. But if we're just talking about safety as a whole, I would
Hmm.
say, be a little bit careful of that. The only other one that I would tell people to take precaution of, taxi drivers in Turkey. Taxi drivers in Turkey are like attorneys in America. Just stay away from them, okay? All right, at all costs. Um, Now, with us, you're not dealing with taxis. You got private cars, private drivers, private tour guides, all this kind of stuff. So you have
Right.
to deal with that. But if you're just showing up and you're not running the meter, yeah, it's likely that these guys are going to try to take advantage of you. Um, so, but that's why we provide this, so you don't experience any of that whatsoever.
And the same thing I always say about safety for women. Women should not be out by themselves on the streets ever, anywhere. So it's just the same as in America. You go with other people, watch your drinks. Don't let people buy you drinks. Don't have an open glass in the bar. I mean, it's the same safety as you'd have anywhere.
hmm that's basically just standard precaution, like you're
Right.
describing. But yeah, overall, it's a relatively safe place with nice people,
Yes.
really warm people who appreciate the fact that you're there to visit their country. They're proud of their food, of course.
Hmm.
They love their music, and you're going to hear their music all over the place. Um, so yeah, it's a good place to be. Nobody leaves the country not feeling excited about what they saw.
So one last thing before we go is, how much is your tour?
That one I gotta
Oh,
look
okay.
up. That's the
So
only thing.
while
That's the only thing I don't have memorized.
while Charlie is looking it up, don't forget to see us every Tuesday, Travel Talk Tuesday at 6 o'clock Central. And you can look at my entire playlist on my YouTube of all of our Travel Talk Tuesdays. This is our 18th episode, and we focus on a different destination every week. So, do you have an answer? Looks like you're set.
Yeah, I do. And I'm going to tell you something right now. The price here includes five-star hotels.
Mm,
Um, per person, it's a minimum of two people on this one.
mm.
28.25 per person, which
Wow,
is
that's
pretty
great.
cheap. Yeah, it's pretty cheap um, for Turkey in 11 days here.
Hmm.
Um, the thing about it is the hotels that we choose for you are high quality. If you're in an area where five-star hotels don't exist, and we still give you some of the best hotels there, they're centrally located. We don't want you to be taking taxi rides after your tour ends, because let's say your tour ends like 6 or 7 o'clock with us in the evening.
Hmm.
We don't want you to be on the outskirts and now you call a taxi and now you have a bad experience with a taxi driver over there. You're in the heart of everything. So once you're done with the tour for the day, you go back to your very nice hotel, you shower up, then you walk to where all the action is. You enjoy yourself. So anyway, 28.25 includes all the transportation, ground transportation, water
Hmm.
transportation. It doesn't include the flights, but the
Right.
domestic flights aren't that expensive. It's just obviously the sooner out you book, the better. If you try booking the day before, it's going to be a lot more expensive, like anywhere else in the world. It includes the hot air balloon rides. It includes the dinner at the local's home. Um, your tour guides all speak English. It includes all the entry fees, and that's it.
So be sure to book with me. I can book Charlie's tours anywhere in the world. And if you have any questions, we are on every social network we're streaming on right now: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Well, I don't stream on TikTok, but I'm on TikTok. So please just let us know if you need anything. And thank you so much for watching.
I'm sorry I talked too much.
No, it's good. We had a lot to cover today. So Galapagos next week. We will see you on Tuesday.
It sounds beautiful.
Thanks, Charlie.